In debugging, as a beginner, first we'll start with couple of stuff that is called shortcut. One is F10, function key F10. Okay, if you go to keyboard, above your numbers key, there will be F1, F2, F3, etc. So there one key is called F10. It's not combination of F and number 10. No, it is F10, a button. So that F10 button you have to take the help to compile current line and then jump to next line. Right? I have 200 lines of the code. I don't know where is the mistake is there. So I have to go and put the breakpoint there where I want to start line by line compilation, because I want to track it where exactly mistake is happening. So that is called F10. That means compile the current line, see the output of that, and jump to next line. One by one line it will compile. F11, that indicates compile current line, and then jump to, it's not next line, it is the definition, jump to definition of that line. What do you mean? If I will ask you line number 7, what is the definition of line number 7? You will say this line number 12. Definition means detailed explanation. So I am calling this function here, but actually that function is defined here, right? I am calling this variable here, or I am using this variable here, but the actual that variable has been defined here, line number 11, right? I have written the class name here, line number 5, to create the object, but actually that is defined here, line number 9. So definition, that means where exactly that element has been defined. So that is called F11. Going forward, we will see something called F12. Okay. One by one we will learn systematically. F12 says currently you are not running the program. You are not running the program, but in debugging stage you want to go to definition. So when running the program, to go to definition, you are pressing F11. When you are not running the program, you want to go to definition of that, or we say it as implementation of that. So this is called definition, this is called implementation. So if you want to go to implementation of that code, then you have to go for F12. That also we'll see. Then today we may see, let's see, as per our plan, there is something called quick watch. So these are the shortcuts for debugging. How much strong you are in debugging, that will be telling your success story behind the development career. Okay, make the mistake, but quickly you find the mistake where exactly it is done. So that is called debugging. So by debugging only you can find the mistake quickly. So quick watch. Quick watch means, imagine you have some code here, right? You have obj, one memory allocated element. Here you have one variable called name, which is having ABC limited. Now you want to run the program, as well as you want to see what is current value and do I need to change the value in the execution time. So then you have to go for quick watch. So analyzing current value of memory, and then allowing to edit the value during a runtime. Runtime means execution time, right? Then there is something called add watch. Add watch indicates I don't want to manually go and watch it, whether value is 7, value is 10, value is ABC limited, or value is XYZ limited. I don't want to manually go and watch it, but the moment execution will happen for that program, it will go on telling you at the bottom. Every time you run a program, if you see bottom position, there is something called output window. Okay, a small window below, you will see output window. In that output window, it will go on telling you, hey, as of now name is ABC limited. Hey, as of now name become XYZ limited. Hey, as of now somebody changed it, its name become something else. So that will go on telling you in the output window. So we are at the beginning, guys. We are first learning the environmental idea, how to make use of this debugging, compilation, execution, etc. So add watch sometimes you have to give when you want to say, okay, whether based on my input, output is coming or not parallel, I want to see. So that is called add watch. So you have to right click and then add watch. That means you are adding one watch window. So meaning is adding one watch window to observe periodic changes of value in memory. Actually, memory you cannot see, na? You will not open the laptop to see the random access memory, right? You will not come with the screwdriver to open the random access memory and see what is the value available there. Obviously, you have to see in the window. So these are the ways you can go on saying that, okay, as of now, what is the value? As of now, what is the value? Like that, you can go on watching it. Any question mark, guys? Conceptually, we will see practically how to use it in the debugging mode. So any line English you could not understand before we implement it practically. Okay, so let's go and see one by one. So first, how to use F10 for the debugging process. So I already put a breakpoint here. You can see line number 5, line number 7, right? So even one line from the top to bottom is enough. So put the breakpoint where you think that I want to start the debugging. Debugging means line by line compilation. See above, there is a drop down where debug, release, configuration manager, like that, some couple of elements you will see. So make sure it is in debug mode. First of all of you are able to see my screen and Visual Studio I have opened. Cross check it. If anybody not able to see, maybe sometimes people join from mobile hotspot, right? So hotspot, if it will be less than 20 Mbps, you will not be able to see sometimes. So make sure you are using your internet bandwidth 20 Mbps or more. I'm using 200 Mbps, so from my side, I don't think any problem should come. But if by chance you are using mobile hotspot, not broadband, then you may face the audio or video issue sometimes. Cross check it. In such case, increase your bandwidth a little, your mobile hotspot plan or whatever. Okay, so I selected here debug, right? And near to that green color arrow mark is there. So that means I am trying to execute this program in debug mode, right? Debug mode means line by line compilation. So I put a breakpoint in line number 5 in the middleware. So expectation is always the entry point should be middleware for the compiler. And I have put a breakpoint in line number 5 that indicates I am trying to hold the compiler over there. I will hold the compiler over there. I will say, wait. We will go line by line, not program by program. So can you see that yellow color arrow mark, yellow color background? That indicates compiler just came and reach here. Compiler just came and reach here. It is waiting for us to instruct further. So these are all instructions. F10, F11, F12. As per the requirement, we have to go for the respective instruction. Somebody wants to say, okay, compile line number 5 and jump to line number 7 because next line is line number 7. Then you have to press F10. So compiler will jump to next line by compiling the current line. Okay, one quick question. As I said, my class is always a discussion forum, not one-sided, right? Quick question from the introduction part only. This yellow color background, what you see, if I will ask you, which compiler is it? Anybody? There are two compilers available in .NET Core. So what is the compiler name might be here? Anybody? No, name of the compiler I'm asking.
Roslyn.
Roslyn, first compiler, right? So now it is trying to take the metadata information of our code block, right? So which version, what language, what operating system, all these are called metadata information. So Roslyn compiler will help for collecting the metadata information, and which compiler will help for translating the code from intermediate language to native code, guys?
JIT compiler.
JIT core. Okay, JIT core. JIT was in .NET framework. Here in .NET Core, it is JIT core. All right. Now let's come to build and compile both are same. Build and compile both are same. Both will take part during build, both will take part during execution also, but first stage is always compilation. So in compilation stage, there are two compiler takes part, right? So in the Google Drive, you will see folder number 1, right? So go to folder number 1 and watch that video. You will come to know. So here, Roslyn compiler is going to collect the metadata information and going to take the help from open source library and then going to translate the very first stage. Which is that stage? From source code to intermediate language, right? That is called behind the scene what is happening, we should know. Now come to in front of us what is happening. So this shortcut says, if you press F10, current line it will compile and then suddenly it will jump to next line. Let's see whether it is happening there. Line, okay. Before doing that, I will take the mouse to OBJ. See what is allocated memory. Do you see any memory? Null. Null means what? Nothing, right? In English we say nothing, right? I asked how much money I gave to you. You will say, sir, nothing. You didn't give any money. That is called null. That means this OBJ has not yet got any memory. Why? Because compiler just came here. It has not executed that line. Obviously, after execution only it will collect the memory now. So F10, I am pressing F10. Can you see extremely right side to that yellow color background? Can you see something written? Able to read that?
Yes, 1 ms.
Less than or equal to 1 millisecond. Okay, elapsed. What does it mean, guys? It means this line number 1, what you compiled just now, it took less than 1 millisecond to be compiled. There is something called performance test. Okay, your coding is taking how much time consumption. That also matters. I am doing same thing that takes 3 seconds. You are doing same thing that takes 1 second. So whose coding will be more preferable? Yours, because it is taking 1 second and then giving the same output, man. So all are not good developers. Those are good developers who does the same work with less memory and less time consumption. So this is the identification to understand if my code is taking how much time. Okay, so line by line it will go on giving you how much time elapsed. So that will indicate do I need to improve my code? It is taking so much time. Is it any wrong practice I have done here? that is taking unnecessary more time. I'm expecting less than 1 millisecond, but it is taking around approximately 4 seconds. Something like that. Going forward, there is something called unit test tool. There we'll be learning more about it. So now let's press F11. So F10 you understood? Compile the current line, jump to next line. Acha, if I will take the mouse now to obj, what will happen? Do you think null will show? No, because you have already compiled that line. Already compiled means what? It will go and see inside that class what are all elements available, which is public, which is private, and according to that, it will give the accessibility as well as memory allocation. If you see here, it is saying, array, as of now it was null, but currently I gave name value as ABC limited. Right? It will say I gave the name value as ABC limited. That indicates at least it allocated the memory as well as stored the value. So that small rectangular block, can you see? That is the random access memory symbol. Okay. Inside random access memory, it stored the data. When you go to database, maybe in 15-20 days, that small rectangular symbol, it will be like little cylindrical symbol. That will indicate that it is storing the data in the hard disk. But this time it is saying, hey, I stored the data in the random access memory. So inside random access memory, it created one small block called obj, that is called object, and inside that object, it is going to create a small locked data. Why this locked data? Anybody?
The private.
Yes. And it is storing ABC limited inside this. That's why it is saying, why you cannot use it here, but I stored that here. Okay, we are already in line number 7. Now I want to jump to second part. I am trying to test F11, right? What is the meaning of F11? F11 indicates wherever you are. You means your compiler. Imagine your compiler is in line number 7. Now you want to see what is happening in that welcome. Welcome is actually available here. Line number 12, don't you think? So I want to see up to line number 6, there is no issue. Maybe after line number 7, I'm getting some issue on the screen, in this black and white screen or output screen. That means this is main culprit. Maybe inside this function something is wrong happening. Assume that you identified that way. Then next time when you are compiling, you have to press F11 so that at least it will jump from line number 7 to line number 12. So how? F11. I'm pressing F11. Achha, if I could have pressed F10, it could have come to directly last line, 11th line. But I press F12 from here. F11 from here. So F11 means it says compile the current line, no problem, line number 7, and jump to the definition of the function. Definition of the function means this one, where exactly that function is defined. Curly bracket open, curly bracket close. For example, I wrote one line today. Going forward, it may be 500 lines also, depending upon the requirement. We are not hurry to jump to 500 lines of the code. First, let's learn the processes. So, where is the compiler actually? Line number 13, can you see? It is saying between 1 to 2 milliseconds I took, ma'am, to execute this. We'll say, okay, it's fine, not a big deal. If it will be seconds, then problem. Millisecond means what? 1000 millisecond equal to 1 second. So now you are in line number 13. I want to go to next line, next line, next line. So what should I do? F10, F10, F10. Okay. As long as you need current line, build it, jump to next line. Then build it, jump to next line. Then you have to press F10, F10, F10 as long as you need that. Again, when you need definition, then you have to say F11, right? So I'm pressing F10 now. So it is saying to come from line number 12 to line number 14, I took very less time, less than or equal to 1 millisecond, then absolutely fine. So whenever you will go for very complicated programming in future, this time also matters. You have to check how much time it took to execute this bunch of code. Can I change that coding so that same output can happen with less time? Instead of 3 microsecond, 3 millisecond, 1 millisecond, is it possible? Because your project manager will come and say, hey, how much time you are taking to execute this bunch of code? It is taking some 4 to 5 milliseconds. Can you please enhance the code? We are not happy with this code. We want same output with less time. Can you please enhance it? So simply, you cannot say na, in the air that I am enhancing. So you have to see that right hand side, how much time it is consuming really. Okay, now I will press again F10, right? Again F10. That means as per our understanding, when it compiled the current line called 14, jump to the current line called 15. After 14, it came to 15. Then as per our coding level understanding, it should go and display this welcome to .NET Core on the screen. Check it out, that output window, whether it came. It is coming. Then I will further press F10. So if I will further press F10, where it will go, guys? How to think?
To go back to where
It should go back to where we came from, isn't it? Because program.cs, that line number 7, है ना? So let's press F10. Can you see? It says, dear, I took less than 1 millisecond for line number 5 to line number 7, but as of now I have already gone to the definition and completed all 4 to 5 lines, even respective output also I gave, and then I came back to line number 7. Again, if I will press F10, it will go to line number 11, right? Again, if I will press F10, it will say that, bhai, I completed your code. Now check if you have, desired output. If not, check which line you make mistake, because in front of you, line by line compilation process is there. You let me know where you did the mistake and so on. So this is called very first level understanding in the debugging. F10, F11. F10 indicates compile the current line, jump to next line. F11 indicates compile the current line, jump to the definition wherever it has been defined really. Now F12 indicates, let me tell you that as well. Read the line F12, what it says, whether you are able to understand. It says, currently you are not running the program, not yet compiled or not yet built, not yet executed, nothing. Program is in this stage only. You just typed it, maybe. You just typed it. When a complicated real-time project will be developed, it will be not like, array, I called here it is there, man, why you are confusing. It will not be like that. Thousands of lines of the code will be there sometimes. You never know which function is defined where, which function has been used from Microsoft also. Can you see line number 14? Which function we are calling, guys, here? Is it our function? No, right line is not our function. It is Microsoft function, which is defined inside a class called console, which is available inside a namespace called system. So who defined system namespace? Not us, it is Microsoft, right? In the open source library, there is a namespace called system. Inside that namespace, there is a class called console. Inside that console, there is a function called writeLine. Nothing miracle is happening here. Actually, there is a class called console, there is a function called writeLine, and it is taking one parameter into that function, which is defined by Microsoft. That parameter is welcome to .NET Core. Tomorrow I will give some other parameter. That function will take some other parameter. That means this line detail analysis is, it is calling a inbuilt function called writeLine. Now somebody wants to see that. Somebody wants to see that. Currently I am not running the program, but I want to go to that area where exactly this has been defined. Or if I will say this one, line number 7, welcome, our function only, our object only. But somebody wants, no, I want to see where it is defined, which page it is defined, but I am not running the program. I am in the stable stage, just finish the coding, but I want to go there. So whichever function, whether your function or whether Microsoft function, right line is your Microsoft function, inbuilt function, and welcome is your function. Whichever function you want to go to the detail part. Detail part means definition area. Then you have to right click and go to F12, or can you see go to definition F12, both are same. So if you are not running the program, you have to press F12. Okay, it will take you there. But if you are running the program, then you have to press F11. That means almost functionality is same for both of them. Only difference is while executing, compiling, or building the program, this will be helpful by breakpoint. But while not executing the program, simply you are in the stable stage. You have just finished the coding. Then you want to go to the definition, then F12. Let's press F12 here. Let's see what happens. Okay. Definition now. Can you see? It is saying, dear, it is in the metadata. Why metadata only? Why not full definition? If I click this plus symbol, can I see the detailed coding of that right line? No. It is saying, I will not show you the real coding. Only I can say is in this file, in this function, some coding is there. Why we are not able to see right line coding, guys? Can you see lot of right line is there? That means if you are passing integer also, it will help you. If you are passing float also, it will help you. If you are passing string also, it will help you. In fact, we have not yet discussed what is string, what is float, what is object, etc. But just have an understanding that these are various type of the data. So it is saying any type of the data you are passing, I will go to the respective function and I will execute it. So my question here is, I am able to see my function here fully, not only declaration but also definition. But when I am trying to go to Microsoft function, it is saying no doubt it is inside system namespace. It is inside a class called console. Now I want to see detail coding also. Why it is not showing the detailed coding? If I will expand also. Any idea? I can see my code. Why not Microsoft's code? Because of DLL, Dynamic Link Library, guys. They have not given the source code directly. Nobody will give you source code. Okay. If Microsoft will start providing source code of this function, inbuilt functions, what will happen? Tomorrow China version of Visual Studio will start. Japan version of Visual Studio will start. Right? They will copy paste it and change it accordingly. They will say, hey, Microsoft is not good, man. Use our version. We have enhanced it. Right? So that's why metadata information. Can you see here at the top? It has written, dear, I can only help you to show the metadata, not the detailed coding of it. So whatever inbuilt function, you will get the metadata, and whatever user defined function, you can see the definition as well as coding. Right? Now let's understand about what is quick watch. It is in running stage. Suppose I want to display this name here somehow. Line number 14, little bit I will change it. The name is, okay. There is something called placeholder in CSharp. Understand, this is a new thing. Curly bracket 0. If you want to display two things, one will be curly bracket 0, one will be curly bracket 1. That is called placeholder. Placeholder means position to display something. Okay. Now what exactly I want to display here? Name. Why? Because my user wants to know inside my class what exactly it is initiated. Because it's private, so directly I cannot display here in the middleware, but I want to display inside the class itself and I want to call that function. That means indirectly displaying the private member. This is the line which is helping us indirectly displaying the private member. Directly we cannot display here, obviously, because it's outside the program. But indirectly means call the public function, and public function will help to display the private variable, because this function is inside the class and this function easily can use private variable. So inside this class definitely you can use that private variable, but outside this class you cannot use that private variable. That means I wanted to display the private variable indirectly. So this is the syntax, right? Placeholder along with the comma and the variable name. Now I want to see in the runtime what is the name. I want to see in the runtime what is the name. I'll put a breakpoint in the line number 14. Okay, understand the debugging process. So this is the always any programming language you're learning, first thing you should know how I can compile decently. Okay, how I can compile line by line also, page by page also, whole program also, how can I compile decent. So this time I'm trying to compile whole program, but in this line, particularly line number 14, I want to watch what is the current value of name. If by chance I want to change that name in the runtime, I should be able to. So read this line once more before you understand it in practical. Analyzing the current value of the memory, okay, whatever my program has allocated. If I will come to know that maybe I did some mistake, I want to modify during the runtime. Edit means modify. During the runtime, is it possible or not? If possible, how do we do using quick watch? Let's see. So line number 14, I put a breakpoint. Why so? Why not line number 11 suddenly? Because my cross-checking or observation I want in line number 14 before displaying it, right? When that yellow color background will come here, I will check what is the current value. If value is something else, I should modify it and then check it, how it is behaving. Okay, this is small single line because we are at the beginning stage. Tomorrow it may be some if-else condition also. Day after tomorrow it may be some loop also. After that day some array also, collection also, who knows. Slowly this coding will be going on increasing. So I want to check what is the input first of all. Does my collection needs negative value but it is giving positive value? Can I modify in the runtime? That is called also part of debugging. We say it as quick watch. How to do quick watch? Let's have a look. So if I'll run, it should compile and it should stop there in line number 14 because I have put a breakpoint there. So this below part is called output window, guys. Every time I used to say output window during runtime, that below part, one small window comes, that is called output window. Okay, so compiler came just to line number 14, right? Why? Because I have not put any breakpoint here. So it might have crossed in line number 7, it might have jumped to this. Now I have put a breakpoint, that's why it is stopping here. It will say, wait, I want to analyze, I want to observe whether my input data is coming correctly or not. Who knows, I'm expecting XYZ limited, it is bringing ABC limited. So see how I'm doing it. I will go here, okay, double click that NAME, right click here, go to quick watch, shift F9 is the shortcut. One quick watch window will be open for you, okay. One quick watch window will be open for you. It is saying if you want to analyze, yes, you can analyze it. What is the current value? NAME is the name of the variable. Value is ABC limited as of now, which is a string data type. Are you all okay with this? You said, yeah, I'm fine. Then you closed it and proceeded F10, F10, F10. Somebody says, no, man. I'm thinking it should be XYZ limited. How it is coming ABC limited? Maybe I have done some mistake. Somewhere wrongly I might have initialized the value. Chalo, I will fix that issue later. For this execution, I want to modify that value to XYZ limited for my experiment. Let's see. So what I will do, I will press here in expression, I will say equal to symbol within double quote. Why double quote, guys? Because string variable. You can see here also ABC limited inside double quote now. String means within double quote. Gandhiji said, you start double quote, na? This. That is called a string value. 10 plus 20 equal to 30. That is not a string value. That is called numeric value. But 10 plus 20 equal to 1020, that is a string value. Okay, so here first name plus last name equal to string concatenation. That's why double quote required. So name equal to, I will say XYZ limited. XYZ limited within double quote. Okay. Re-evaluate. Can you see one button? Re-evaluate. Then it will forcefully go to random access memory. Can you see here? Rectangular block. Rectangular block means random access memory. So it went to random access memory, RAM, and it said that, hey, there is a variable called NAME. Please forcefully give this XYZ limited to that. It provided it. That means as per your demand, it modified that value during the runtime. Add watch, can you see here? That means you want to say, every time when program will be executed, I want to see this name value. Every time I want to see that name value. Then click on add watch. Optional, but if necessary, you can add it. Imagine lot of errors you have in the program. Lot of errors. And all those errors are depending upon a input value. Then don't you think you should add watch? Every time I will run the program, as long as I am not deploying it, I want to see that input value, because depending upon that input, 10 different issue is coming. So it is my duty to see what is that input. If input is radius itself is mistake, your diameter calculation will be wrong, your perimeter calculation will be wrong, your area calculation will be wrong. So don't you think radius I should watch while debugging? So that's why you will do add watch. So these are all debugging process. I will not say mandatory, but if you need, you have to do it. So suppose I will click add watch, then suddenly can you see one watch window added below. Now close it. Watching window added below. This time XYZ limited, because I forcefully change it to XYZ limited. That is saying, dear, variable name is NAME and current value is XYZ limited. Tomorrow again I am coming to this, executing. Imagine that time ABC limited. Then it will say, hey, currently it is ABC limited, ma'am. Do you want to change it? So this kind of facilities add watch will provide you. So quick watch allowed you to observe, analyze, reevaluate, edit the value, and add watch said in future also if you want similar activity, every time no need to go quick watch. That watch window will open here and it will go on showing you that, right? Now still this line has not been executed, guys. We just watched it, modified it, but to execute this line number 14, what to do? F10 or F11?
F10.
F10 should be F10. When it should be F11? Now if somebody wants to go inside that right line function, right line method, but right line method is not our coding now, it is Microsoft's coding, and Microsoft will not show us the coding actually, what is there, only definition. That's why it doesn't make any sense by F11. So I will make F10. Okay, came this. Now let's see the output window. ABC limited came or XYZ limited came? XYZ limited. Why? Because quick watch allowed us to change the memory value in the runtime. Whether input is wrong, calculation is wrong, whatever it is, you want to change it during a runtime. That is called quick watch. Then you simply continue. If you see here green color arrow mark, either you go F10 or simply continue, it will close the program. So I click on continue. It must have come to back to this and then back to this, line number 11, and then it might have closed the program. If you say F10, you can see that yellow color background also coming here, and here. But if you simply click on continue, it will say, hey, he doesn't want to line by line debug anymore. He has already done his work. So he click on continue. Why this cursor is blinking here? Who can say? It could have completed the program and come out of the program now. I click on continue. Why this cursor is blinking? Saying that, hey, as long as you are not pressing any key, I will not close the program. Anybody?
Read key method.
Console.read key. Okay. If I will remove this line, most of people have that question mark. Why, sir, every time you are doing this console.read key? Because today it is just one line. Tomorrow it may be 10 lines of the output. Who knows? So if we don't put that read key, what will happen? Within fraction of second, it will show the output and then come out of the program. Now I'm saying no, wait there. I will read my output comfortably. Maybe 1 minute I will take, 2 minutes I will take, whatever I want to take. I will read it comfortably. After that, I myself will press any key. Then you come out of the program. So read a key, read key. Read a key to close the program. That's why read key. So console.read key. So should I press any key? Now it will come out of this and then close the program. Then it will say, "Bhai, I took this much time. These are all the steps I did. In this line I did this, in this line I did this, in this line I did this, and finally I completed the program. It is 0 error, no problem." That is called output window. Acha, quick question here. In line number 11, you can see that console. What is that? That console is what actually? If I'll take the mouse over there, you can come to know quickly, but same thing I explained here, right? That console, this console is the same, na? So what is that actually? No, I'm not saying meaning of that. I'm saying what is that? For example, is
It is a namespace.
it a namespace?
It's a class.
It's a class. Okay, it's a class. It's a class. Can you see? It's a class. Where it is available? Na system namespace. Acha. If I will say what is this read key, what will say? Method or function.
Function.
Okay. In Java we say method. In CSharp we say function. So function of the class called console. Acha. Compare line number 7 and line number 11. Here did I use class name line number 7 to call this function? No, right? I created the object and then called the function. Make sense? That means I allocated the memory for class and then using object I call the function. But if you see line number 11, you are calling the function by class name, ma'am. So can I call this here also like that? My class.welcome. It is saying no. Why so? Any question mark comes to mind?
So declare object in class.
Chalo, I will remove this line. Suppose I didn't declare the object. Will it allow? No. Why so? My function is being called using object, but Microsoft's function is being called using class name. Why this partiality? Can I do this console object and call it? Like console obj1 equal to new console. Can I do that? And obj1 dot read key like we did? No. So that means my question here, when should I call a function or method using object, and when should I call a function or method using class name? Any idea?
If it is not a static.
Absolutely. To make you understand what is static, I was asking this question. If you go to read key, just go to read key. Go to read key. Can you see? Line number 172. Our function is what? Now public something something, but it is public static something something. Okay. This static word says I'm a global function. In the random access memory, there are two areas. One is object oriented area, one is global area. Diagrammatically, quickly I will do it. I have another class after this. I have to jump. Okay, suppose this is your random access memory. Okay, suppose this is your random access memory. When you create this object now, I'm talking about line number 5. What it does, it creates one more private block inside it, just like this. Assume that this is a boundary, this is a building. Inside that building, you are keeping something. That is called object-oriented programming. Okay, like you said, hey, name equal to XYZ Limited. So that XYZ Limited is stored here because it's a object-oriented, not a static. But the moment I will go and put a static word here, NAME, private string, okay, static string. Suppose I will say static string. So what will happen? It will say कि this ABC Limited, it will not come inside this boundary. Suddenly this ABC Limited or XY Limited, whatever it is, it will come somewhere here. That means it will say, hey, object name is OBJ, but you are instructing me not to store that XYZ Limited inside that object because it's a static. So static variable, static function, static anything that keeps in the global area of the random access memory. But if you remove that static word, it will say, tell me what is your object name? You say my object name is obj1 or obj. Then it will say, okay, I am keeping that value inside the object. Now tell me, static is secure or non-static is secure? Secure means what? Which easily outsiders can use it. Static will be secure or non-static will be secure?
Non-static.
Non-static will be secure always.
Non-static is secure. Yes.
Absolutely. So imagine you are defining something called password. You should not define static. Imagine you are defining something called OTP, customer ID in the net banking. Any secure item you are defining inside a class, you should not use static. But if something like your name, everybody knows your name, right? Maybe your street address, your country name. If somebody came to know also, not a big deal. So those kind of things you can make static. Now you'll ask me, why is static? If I will do everything non-static, what will be the problem? Imagine tomorrow 2 objects I am creating, then that non-static value will be copied 2 times. Object number 1 for you, object number 2 for me. Then 2 copy of that XYZ Limited will come because obj1 different memory block, obj2 different memory block. Tomorrow 100 object I am creating means unnecessary that XYZ Limited will be 100 copy. However, all 100 people are belongs to same company. So imagine there are 100 people working in a company. For all 100 people, you want to allocate employee ID. Then it should be non-static because every employee ID should be different copy. But imagine company name itself you are allocating. Then it should be static. That means as per static versus non-static, name should be non-static. Why? Because name should be every object copy. You are employee 1, I am employee 2. Inside employee 1, obj1, name should be something else. But if it is company name, it should be static. Why? Because company name is same for all of us. Maybe all of us, we are working in the same company. So depending upon what data exactly, whether it is a repetitive data or same information for everybody, then you have to take static or non-static. The moment you put static, it will be allocating it outside that memory block. That means in the global area. That's why 1 is enough. No need for every object, different XYZ Limited, different XYZ Limited, different XYZ Limited. If there are 100 employees, also 100 object to create, doesn't matter. But XYZ Limited is company name. It should be 1 copy for everybody. So that your analysis will say. There is no single definition. Based on the requirement of the customer, you have to analyze. Hey, this item is common for a lot of people, or this item is different for everybody. If it is different for everybody, you have to go for object oriented variable. If it is same for everybody, then you have to go for static variable. Make sense? Any question mark here before closing for the day?